So there's a rumor going around that I think came from Joe Tipton. Tipton Edits, the leader of the recruiting space, I would say. Like he's just all over all these commitments, and he does great work, as we know. Anyways, I'm pretty sure Tipton was doing some sort of like Q&A or just kind of giving some intel behind the scenes with On3 this week, and he was updating the Tyran Stokes commitment. And what I've been told is that Tipton says that in the final stage here, as we build up to a potential impending decision from the number one recruit in the country, as crystal balls pour in for Kentucky to win the recruitment, Louisville decided not to make a push for Tyran Stokes in the final stage of this recruitment. Now, I haven't seen this from my own eyes. I must have missed the board whenever this was shared. I haven't seen the Tipton write-up. Normally, I like to fact check that all of this was real. But I've just seen it circulating on the timeline, and I believe, like I said, this was something Tipton shared. If I have this wrong, someone please correct me. But the idea here that there's a rumor that as Louisville has trended out of it, it's because they decided not to make a push as Kentucky emerges as the favorite. Does that track for you? Do you buy this?
Yeah, I do buy that Louisville backed off, but I also want to say this. I've currently backed off my position of trying to get Rihanna to date me too. And I think it's just like you,
You decided not to make a push for
yeah,
Rihanna? Yeah.
I decided not to make a late push for Rihanna. You can just you could decide not to make a late push in a situation, but it didn't affect anything. Like I think Louisville was out on Tyron before they decided not to make a late push. But I do believe because of how much ground they lost on Tyron, they did probably decide not to make a late push though.
I mean, help me just make sense of this for a moment. Was it the multi-million dollar Nike deal that Tyron Stokes signed 3 days ago that made Louisville and Adidas school decide not to make a late push? Was that the telling sign that made them decide to back off Tyron Stokes? Was it that Pat Kelsey didn't want to get hit by Mark Pope in the parking lot again? Is that part of this? Like, oh shit, Mark Pope's gonna be there. I don't want to make a late push. Not late past midnight. Too late for me. Not making a push. Like, there's a couple moving parts here. Help me figure out the exact moment, Dion.
I think so. I think I know the moment. Well, besides those moments, there's one other moment. Did you see Tyron's tweet that announced his top five?
He put the four in one tweet and then did Louisville separate.
Yeah, that's when I knew Louisville was out. I saw that tweet and I was like, oh, is Louisville out? And then I clicked on it and they were the next one. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's over. They don't stand a chance.
Yeah, you can't out social media troll the best social media troll in college basketball, Pat Kelsey. Like Pat Kelsey speaks this entire language, right? You try to like out social media me, buddy, I know what that means. We won't make the final push. Um, yeah, look, I'm with you. Louisville wasn't going to get Tyron. That became pretty clear as to me as soon as Nike happened, right? Before the Nike deal, I would have said I have no idea what Tyron Stokes is doing. If he surprises me with a Louisville commitment, I wouldn't even be that surprised. But when he signs with Nike, like that's going to kill the Adidas schools. Although, sounds like Tipton's still saying Kansas has a chance here. But look, jokes aside, I'm not going to justify this for Louisville. Like if you don't get Tyron Stokes, even if you backed off at the final minute, that just means you lost on Tyron Stokes. Pat Kelsey's been trying to get Tyron Stokes for the better part of a year. So we can't sit here and pivot like, oh, he decided the last second not to. Good move. No, it's not a good move. You didn't get yourself in a position to win the recruitment. So that's not good for Louisville. Dion, how's your job going?
Beginning of the school year, everything's like a little up and down. One of the biggest issues we've had is we can't find any uniforms for our girls' sports teams.
Mm, that's a difficult thing to find a solution for. I know damn well all about that because I got a daughter that just turned 2. She's into sports and she's already outgrowing every little piece of sports apparel she had. Thankfully, I know Clara K Creations. Clara K Creations was started by a former high school teacher who quit because it wasn't cost effective to send new twins and a 2-year-old to daycare. She found it easier to make girls sports apparel than finding it to buy. And I am so thankful that she exists because if we have an old shirt of Murph's that she's outgrown, we can send it in and she takes that piece of apparel that means something and upcycles it into an outfit that Murphy can now wear as she grows up. She makes great stuff. It's honestly kind of like your fullback's wife, Kyle Juszczyk. Is that how you say it? She does that, but honestly, I think Clara Kate's coming for Mrs. Juszczyk's job.
I love that. I'm a big Juice guy. Love his wife. Love Claire Kate even more than both of them, though.
You can send in your own custom ideas and she will come up with a design. She's just the best. Look up Clara Kate Creations on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and more. But I would say this is something we've criticized Kentucky's head coach for in recent months. You got to be able to read the room. And if you're out, if you are not the destination, you've got to stop wasting your time and effort and energy on it. And I do think at minimum, that is what Pat Kelsey's doing here. He's at least assessing the situation, saying, oh, it's not me. Okay, let me call Colvin Landrew and let me get a couple other guys on the phone.
I think so. Remember the theory I had on Tay Kenny and Tyran Stokes?
Mm-hmm.
And that clearly seems to like not currently be true. However, maybe it was true for Louisville. And I don't know how big of a coincidence it is. They lost out on Tay Kenny, and now we feel we hear they chose not to make a push for Tyron. Like maybe the key to Tyron for Louisville, an Adidas school, where we knew Tyron was going to go, like probably sign with Nike, was through a Tay Kenny and some relationship that Tay Kenny and Tyron have, type of thing. So I don't think there's too big of a coincidence between those two happening very similarly, but. I will say this: Pat Kelsey, like you hit it on the head. Like Pat Kelsey read the room. He knew like this isn't going to work. Let me go get somebody else. Like why waste time? There's other big recruits out there. Louisville's in on pretty much everybody, so they'll be told no a few more times at least, and they'll be told yes a few times too. But like if you waste time on Tyron and then you miss on Tyron, that affects everything. So I applaud Pat Kelsey for not making a late push.
Counterpoint, when Mark Pope was out for his last priority recruit, Tay Kinney, he said, I don't care that I'm out. I'm going to pull up and make a fool of myself and Louisville's head coach so that Louisville doesn't get him. And then that move ultimately worked. So can we really applaud Louisville's head coach if Kentucky gets Tyran Stokes? Shouldn't he have hung around late enough just to try to mess that up?
I think Louisville fans are going to hate this, but isn't Kentucky supposed to be above doing stuff like that in the rivalry? Right? Like, shouldn't that be what Kelsey does? Isn't Pope supposed to be above that? It should only be focused on himself.
This is me doing the
Maybe,
Kermit the Frog meme right now as you say that.
like, maybe this is Pat Kelsey saying, I don't care what they do. I'm gonna do me, and we'll see what happens when the ball tips off.
Could be. You don't have Michael Brown forever, but that'll work this year for sure. If Tyron Stokes is at Kentucky, there's no way this is anything but a loss for Pat Kelsey. Like, oh, he backed off at the last minute so that Mark Pope could get him? Like, really? That's what we're doing? These two, these two are meant to be together, man. These two are just meant. It's gonna be so fun to watch this tiny little man and this giant little man, big man, excuse me, just like pretend they love each other forever. You know, that's what they do. They like fight to the death in parking lots and then be like, I just have so much respect for him. Like, at a certain point, they're both gonna stop pretending they like each other. It's gonna be great.
It's Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor. We love each other because we made each other hundreds of millions of dollars, but we also tried to like beat each other's heads in for 40 minutes, however long it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, look, competition's good in this sport. It makes all of this world go round. And I'm very curious to see how this pans out.